5 strategies to get through tough times. That's what I want to share with you in this short video. Just a few days ago, or I think it was just a few days ago, California has officially now shut down. So think about this for a second. California was one of the first states to close down, then they slowly reopened, then they shut down again. Unless in the last couple hours something happened and they reopened, but I don't think so. The last couple of months have been really weird. I don't think any of us have experienced anything like this in our lifetimes. And because of that, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of challenges that we have faced as business owners as well as just humans that are a bit unprecedented. So how do we get through this? Because the reality is I believe there's 2 types of people in the world. I believe that there are people who allow their circumstances to dictate their future, and there are others who take control of their circumstances to dictate their own future. It's a really simple choice. You can be a victim or you can be a victor, okay? And I want to show you 5 ways to help you get through no matter what it is you're going through. So if your practice is not as booming as it was before COVID, or you've had to let a couple team members go, or whatever the situation is in your business or in your personal life, I think these 5 strategies will help you out. So number 1 is there's 2 things that great leaders have in common. So the first strategy is one of the traits, which is just be very realistic about what's happening right now, right? We don't need to sugarcoat the situation or pretend that it's not as bad as it is. If the situation is bad, just be very honest about that. It sucks. My business is cut in half. I don't have the revenue I did before. This is unacceptable. Just be grounded in reality. Okay, so that's the first thing, is accept the situation for what it is. Okay, you can't pretend that it's not here. It is here. Second thing though, the second trait and the second strategy is be delusionally optimistic. And this is a term that I coined years ago called delusional optimism. It's about being optimistic in such a way where it's almost irrational. So you have this spectrum, and I just said be rooted in reality of what's happening now, but on the flip side, look to the future in such an optimistic way that other people would think of you as crazy. Like, dude, like, there's no way this is going to happen in the future. Look at what we're going through right now. And you're like, yeah, you're right. For you, it's not going to happen. If you keep fighting for your limitations, you get to keep them. But I'm on a different path. And I'll promise you, this is something that if it's not innate, it's something you just have to develop in terms of practice and being mindful of your thoughts. Like, I don't know if it's something that I've had to work on in my life. It's something that I think that, as far as I can remember, that I've always had, is like, no matter what's going on, I have this optimistic belief about the future that it's always going to be better than the present, no matter what. And I think that's for me at least, it's been a really helpful asset, because my core belief is that tomorrow will be better than today, and next week will be better than this week, and the future is going to be better than the past. And I want to associate with people who feel the same way. I don't typically associate with people that I knew 20 years ago, because a lot of them are living in the past. Hey, remember the good old days when we used to go play soccer at the park? I'm like, yeah, it was great memories, but I'm building this thing for the future, so I need to focus here. No sense in, lingering on about the past. So number 1 is be realistic about what's happening right now and take inventory of the situation. What's revenue at? What's patient flow looking like? All that stuff, right? Is your marketing working? If it sucks, just be realistic about it. Say like, listen, my marketing is terrible. I have no marketing. I have no control over anything I'm doing. Just be honest about yourself. And then the second strategy is being like, cool, awesome, but I'm the type of person that it's okay, because I'm going to figure out a way at some point things are going to be better, okay? So it's this dichotomy of be rooted in reality, but be delusionally optimistic about the future. Third thing is to think like a chameleon. Chameleons have the ability to adapt to their environment in such a way they actually change their skin tone based on the bark of the tree that they're on. And humans have this really cool ability to do the same thing. I mean, not obviously change our skin tone to if we're laying on grass, we're not going to turn green. But we have this really cool thing called junk DNA. And junk DNA has been shown, as we've gotten into the whole human genome, to be one of the most critical things in the human makeup. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to adapt to our environment. So even though chameleons are renowned for adapting to what's going on around them, humans are probably the most adaptable species on this planet. Think about this. Think about this for a second. And this ties into the power of your environment. So we all know the stories of kids who hang out with the wrong crowd, right? What happens to the kid? They tend to become like the people they're hanging around with. Or you take a kid out of a troubled neighborhood and you give them the right mentors and the right supportive environment, and all of a sudden new possibilities exist for that individual. They start to think and act and look at the world in a completely different manner. So your environment makes a huge difference. So when I say think like a chameleon, I mean surround yourself with people who are not victims, but are victors and have the mindset to figure things out to make the future better. And second is to look at yourself and your own business and the way you operate in the world to say, what do I need to do right now to be relevant and adapt? Netflix used to deliver DVDs to your door via the mail. Netflix in 2020 is very different. That's called adaptation. Blockbuster, remember that store, that company? They don't exist anymore. Why? Because they didn't adapt. And this is happening, well, actually, statistically, if you look at, I think it was 88%, according to stats, 88% of the companies on the Fortune 500 list in 1965 no longer exist in 2020. Isn't that crazy? We're talking about the biggest companies in the world. 88% of them no longer exist. And why is that? Well, they either went bankrupt, or they got bought out, or they merged. And a large piece of this is they don't adapt. Kodak invented digital photography in the late 1970s. They knew about it, they had access to it in the mid 1980s. They refused to do anything with it because they were stuck in their old ways of paper-based photography. And then I think they had 12,000 employees when they went bankrupt in 2012, 2013. Crazy, right? That's a lot of people, probably even more employees, to be honest. Instagram, same year, 13 employees. They get bought out by Facebook for $1 billion, right? And so the whole COVID situation has been a blessing, okay? I need you to think about like this situation. And yeah, you can throw some hate at me in the comments if you don't believe that. That's totally fine. I don't agree with you. It's been a blessing because no matter what happens to your business, no matter what has happened to your business, you have to look at it as a thank you, as an opportunity. So let's just say your business went to shit, okay? Like lockdown, doors shut, revenue plummeted through the floor. You have two options. You can be angry about the situation, which I'll give you for a day, okay? And then you get over it and you move on and you adapt and you think about, okay, what do I have to do to change the situation? I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I got a call from my accountant on a Friday, 2 days before taxes were due. He told me that I had a tax bill that was 6 figures. And I was not expecting that. And I was livid. I'm talking like livid. Blood boiling, like I'm like, how dare you tell me this when I thought it was going to be like this? You're telling me it's like this? Like 2 days before the taxes are due. I was so pissed off. And then at some point in that day, I said, okay, you have two choices. You can stay pissed off or you can figure out a solution to this problem. And although I was pissed, I said, I'm not in a resourceful state. I need to reconfigure my head to figure out the solution here. And so that's what you have to be able to look at any situation in your life as an opportunity to get better, right? Ryan Holiday has a great book called The Obstacle is the Way. It's the same thing here. COVID was the obstacle. Lockdown, shutdowns. We've had clients. I had a client who sent me, if I could show you my phone, I don't have it on me, sent me a Vox last night. He just said that they did $130,000 yesterday in one day. They had their business has grown exponentially over the past couple months. Like their business has exploded during COVID. We've had other clients, like a lot of other clients who've had their best months ever in business during the last couple of months. And what's the difference? The difference is you look at the lemons you're given or whatever it is you're given and you squeeze the most juice out of it. You look at, okay, business is down, doors are shut, what do I have to do? And what a lot of people have done in the past couple months who started to work with us is they said, okay, I can't practice in person, I need to figure out how I can go virtual. And they've done so. Or in some cases, their practice has been able to stay open, but their patient flow has gone down. So they look at, okay, cool, how do I take the reins of this situation and get things back on track? And that leads me to my fourth point, is you need to create certainty. In uncertain times, you need to create certainty for yourself. And that means, what can you control? You can't control how many people get sick. You can't control what the weather is. You can't control when the sun rises and goes down. You can't control what other people do with their lives. The only two things you can control are your thoughts and your actions. So with that said, what are the actions you can take to move you forward? Okay, what you can't control is how much money you make. Okay, that's an outcome of small incremental actions that will get you to making the money you want to make. So what can you do? All right, if I were to say to you, what is the one thing that if you could only do one thing today, one thing only, what would that one thing be to move your business forward? A lot of people might not know the answer to that, right? So think about that. Do I have an email list? Do I have a list of patients? Do I have phone numbers? Cool, awesome. If I do, I'm going to leverage those assets. I'm going to shake the tree for the low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to look at how can I serve these individuals? How can I help them? And in so helping them, I'm able to generate more revenue, right? Because you only make money by helping other people, right? That's the way this works. So you have to focus on the things that you have control over. You have control over what time you get out of bed in the morning. You have control over what you think throughout the day. You have control over whether or not you send an email or you don't. You have control over many, many things. You have to focus on those things, okay? Don't worry about everything else. Don't watch the news. It's all bad, right? Like we had a windstorm, kind of like a hurricane level windstorm, like a category 1 maybe, last week, and a bunch of trees in our area were blown down. And guess who showed up the next day? The news. Because apparently people across Canada need to hear about a couple trees that fell down, because that would grab people's attention. Don't buy into the nonsense, okay? COVID is what it is. Like whether or not they come out with a vaccine or a solution down the road, it has zero impact on what you do today, okay? So turn off all the nonsense, focus on what you can control. And the fifth and final thing is look for new problems to solve. Right now, or let's just say when COVID hit, people, well, maybe actually in the last couple of months more specifically, because initially it was like, okay, cool, I'm stuck at home. Maybe not a big deal for a day, but 3 or 4 months later, I'm still stuck at home. I've got the kids at home. I'm with my spouse all day. Or maybe I'm alone all day. And now there's like isolation. There's actually been a really cool episode or a show on Netflix called Coronavirus Explained. And they showed that with COVID, because everyone or a lot of people have been more isolated than ever, there's increases in anxiety, increases in depression, alcohol sales across the entire planet. Every country from Germany, Japan, US, increased 55% on average. Isn't that insane? So look where the opportunity, what are the new problems that need solving? And the smart entrepreneurs, there's nothing wrong with that word. Some people have an issue with that word. I don't even know. It's funny. We have some people in our Facebook ads who are like, I would never trust anyone who puts preneur after health. I'm like, you're a loser. Anyways, entrepreneur means entreprend in French, which means to take on something new. And if you are a smart practice owner or a practitioner, you're already an entrepreneur because you're already looking for solutions to people's problems. Patient comes in, they have shoulder pain. What are you going to do? You're going to look for the problem. You're going to look for the source of it. You're going to look to diagnose it and put together a treatment plan to solve it. And that's all you got to do with your business, is look at where are the problems that my patients or my ideal audience are dealing with now, and how can I help them solve that? So if they're stuck at home and they're isolated, what are some things that I can help them do at home to be healthier, to be fitter, to be in better spirits, right? Like one of the things that we do for our clients, because we can't do like in-person workshops and stuff for our big event this year, is we do monthly socials. So we're doing like some really cool stuff that we bring all of our hundreds of clients together, whoever can make it on the call, obviously, and we just have a fun time, right? And it just brings people together in such a way where it's it's not always about the work and stuff. It's just about like who we are as people, connecting at a deeper level. And listen, like being in person is awesome, but being over Zoom with people on video is just as powerful, right? I mean, yes, maybe not as powerful, but it's pretty powerful. So there's a lot of great things you can do, and the only thing that's going to limit you is your imagination. That's it, right? There's no one-size-fits-all approach to doing anything. If you want to do things that are like out of left field, that's amazing. We got a Peloton bike a couple weeks ago. This thing is amazing, right? The company is, I mean, it's already a huge company, but they've exploded since COVID hit. Why? Everyone's at home, and now they can work out at home. And the cool thing that Peloton's done is they have a screen, and you can do live classes. You have a coach, you have other people doing it with you, and there's a sense of community, right? So look for problems that you can solve, whether it's COVID or not COVID, like normal reality, there's always going to be new problems that need solving. And just last week, I was downtown and I saw a new pop-up store selling masks that were, designed, cool designs, whatever. That's an example of someone understanding, okay, people need to wear masks now in Ontario. It's mandatory. Okay, well, instead of them looking like nurses in a hospital, let's design something interesting. That's a great idea of what I'm talking about. It's just like think outside the box, look for problems, create solutions to those. And if you want to do better in business, what got you here is not going to get you there, especially right now. You have to pivot, you have to adapt. And the world of old, listen, I hope it comes back. Like I love flying on airplanes. And like it saddens me when I hear Qantas has grounded all of their international flights out of Australia until next year. Like they've gotten rid of their 747s. They're not flying the A380 anymore. I'm like, oh my heart is just like kind of like I have this really romantic relationship with airplanes and the whole flying and the cool meal service and stuff. And that's different now. You go on an airplane, it's like, here's your box of food, everything is covered. And I hope it goes back to the way it was. I really do, because it was just a nicer experience. But I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to be a baby about it, right? It's just like we do what we can with what we have. We move on. We look at how do we make the most out of this current situation. And we look at how do we help other people get through this, right? So those are 5 ways that you can use in any situation, like whether it's COVID or anything else in the future, is number 1, be rooted in reality, be delusionally optimistic. That's number 2. Number 3 is think like a chameleon, right? Be willing and able to adapt. Number 4 is create certainty when there is no certainty. So focus on what you can control. And number 5 is look to solve new problems. You do those 5 things, I promise you're going to feel better, you're going to add more value to the world, you're going to make more money, and you're going to get through the stuff you're going through, okay? So these are 5 things that I've used in my life. I hope they find you well. I hope they serve you. Listen, if you're a practice owner and you were doing really well before COVID and maybe things are not as well now, and you'd like to take things back into your own hands and increase your patient flow and really start to build your business up again, whether that's in person or virtual, we're the best in the business at doing this, right? So if you want our help, just send me a comments below. Just put in scale or something like that. That's a terrible call to action. Just type in the comments like you're interested or scale or something, and we'll send you a quick DM and maybe have a quick chat about how we might be able to help you. Cool. Anyways, hopefully this has been helpful for you. I hope you have an amazing day. Look forward to seeing you soon.